Right, welcome to episode 16 of the Astrakhan's Feather. I was just laughing a minute ago because I did a trial recording to see if the sound's working, and I didn't have the lights on, right? It's not nighttime really here. I mean, it's still light outside, but I look like a man in the dark room. Anyway, it might have worked for the story, but anyway, let's not worry about that. So I was reading this next bit through again, and I thought, oh, do I really need it? You know, like there's a lot of explanation. It's a bit like when I was talking about how a printing press works, you know. But then I thought, no, it works. So I'm just going to go with it, all right? If you don't like it, turn off. All right. So Christ finally chops onion and gently sautés it in olive oil. He doesn't use a processor. He looks at the handmade knife, part of a set that used to belong to Jenny, who'd bought them in a small shop on the way to Devon. Christ had this feeling you went that way again, it would be gone without a trace, because back then life had seemed briefly seemed magical. He gazes into nothing. Perhaps everything felt just a little bit magic back then. Jenny and him in love and all that. He shook his head, felt his throat pain and harden, and concentrated on the chopping instead. Garlic this time, 2 cloves. The board's myrtle, carved by a man who lived in a hut on a beach down south. Finest boards you'd ever see, and thanks to the natural antiseptic properties of myrtle, it helped keep your food free of bugs. Now there was something to concentrate on, which he needed, really. Hang on, sorry. When he could smell the onions and garlic cooking, he stirs in 3 spoonfuls of tomato puree, lets it all cook gently. He puts water on to boil for the pasta. A separate saucepan washes basmati rice twice, getting the starch out of it, just like Jenny had taught him, before adding 2.5 cups of water and a good splash of olive oil and setting it aside. Nowadays, I put butter in, to be honest. Tudor would eat pasta, but not rice. Sack's the opposite. Kids. That's what it's like, isn't it? The boys sat quietly on bar stools at the caramel and ice fleck-coloured marble kitchen counter, watching Christ's every fluid moment. Sachs had his chin on his folded arms, big brown eyes dreamy and cat-like, a school-day tiredness washed through him. Christ opens a big tin of tuna chunks, the ones in olive oil, in a brightly coloured red and yellow tin with a leaping yellow fin tuna on the side, the same design since 1942. Sometimes he wonders when all the tuna will be gone. He spoons the fish in, stirs it around, adds a dollop of oyster sauce and 3 anchovies. He stirs again, then leaves it to simmer. The rice went on. When it boils, he turns it down, puts the lid on. He puts the pasta water back on. Mum never put anchovies in. Yeah, well, we've all got our own way of doing things, T, said Christ. She never called me T. She called me Tudor Buddha and T-boy. She messed my hair when she went past. Christ thought he would fold in 2. You felt like that? I felt like that before. Christ says, yeah, she did, Tudor. No, he doesn't. It's the wrong person. Sachs says, yeah, she did, Tudor, but you used to go mad, said Sachs quietly, eyes wide. Tudor shrugged. Maybe I wouldn't go mad if she came back and did it to me again. You would, Tudor, said Sachs. You say you wouldn't, but you would. Yeah, well, said Tudor, like I'd like the chance, Saxy beast. Remember she used to call you that? Sachs said quietly, I don't remember. Christ had cracked the first beer before the pasta was soft, and then he'd not stopped. He let the boys on the computer for an hour and got them ready for bed, jabbing the inside of Sax's mouth with the toothbrush and hurting him, his drunkenness making him feel big-boned and clumsy as a dumb ox. He frowned. He'd lost count of the bottles. He tried to work it out, but became addled, drifting, ended up reading a label on a jar of pickles with a puzzled expression, fridge door open, warning chiming. I have done this. I've got to be honest with you, right? It's based on my own experience. What can I say? He left the boys watching... He left the boys in the lounge watching TV and sat in the study, got on the internet, cruised eBay. For some reason, Christ had suddenly developed a taste for vintage watches. That's true. He figured in his drunkenness that sometimes makes things seem crystal, that it was all about time and the way it slipped away from you, just like a fish you touched in a shallow stream. You could lumber after it, splashing water blindingly silver in the sunlight, fish's body flashing tauntingly iridescent, but you'd never see that same fish again. You'd never catch it. He tried to remember to remind himself in the morning what the hell he'd been thinking about, but then he forgot. After a long while of drinking and internet surfing, and when the screen started tilting in his vision, he remembered the kids, got up unsteadily and found them in the lounge still. Tudor lying back on the sofa, head on white pillows, Sax's head on Tudor's chest, fast asleep. Tudor was watching SVU, Special Victims Unit, barely awake, the sound turned low, his eyelids hooded. Christ somehow lifted Sax, staggered upstairs, put him to bed. Tudor did his own teeth and silently clambered into his own bed. Christ is woozy, heavy-headed, supremely tired. He pats Tudor's back and whispers in his ear, "Sleep well, buddo." The room was dark, save for the soft blue of a mosquito lamp sitting on the floor, humming like an alien while the ceiling fan whispered in the dark. "Good night, Daddy," said Tudor. "I love you, even when you drink too much Cooper's beer." Christ wanted to say something funny, something clever, witty, but his brain couldn't find the words. "Love you too, T. See you tomorrow." He stumbled out, left the door half open and silently sidestepped, as only a drunk will do, into Sax's darkened room. Christ took a sudden breath and held it until it hurt. She straightened up from the boy's bed, smoothed her skirt and turned to him. "Jenny," he said. She smiled. "Christ, you're looking, well, not exactly good." He licks his lips. "It's really you?" She laughed softly. "You're forgetting me too? How could you?" "Oh, Jenny." Tudor says timidly from his bedroom, "Dad, you all right?" "Go to sleep," said Christ, harshly turning to the light. When he looks around, she's gone. When he comes out of Sax's bedroom, he hears Tudor crying softly in his room. He went to go in, then stopped. He leans against the door jamb, swallows hard, a quivery sigh escaping. A mosquito buzzes. He goes to blat it and smacks his ear so hard it rings like a bell. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Just going to leave it there. It's 7 minutes, right? Next episode, lot of action, let me tell you. People getting killed, throwing stars, all sorts of things. It'll become plain and simple. All right. Have a good evening, morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And take care, everybody. Take care. You take care of yourself and others, all right? It's important. All righty. Bye-bye.